Okay, right, we are going to
Okay, perfect.
So, do you want to get shoes or a coffee? No, it is only in November, right? So it's open to we've got mailing lists and we started out about 3 hours, all this from LinkedIn, all that just our most people are Fantastic, right, thank you so much for coming, look at that, amazing. Once again, I print out a list of actually everybody on the list shows up, so thank you. It's brilliant to be back here. I bring the sunshine with me every time I come to Littlehampton, unlike Bognor last month, which, there we are, in the Waverley, where it was like a monsoon. I think it's fair to say.
Pretty poor weather.
It was a shocker, but actually we all had a lovely time, as we have done most months. So if it's your first event, thank you so much for coming and welcome. I'm Jim, I'm from Adventures and Wisdom Institute. My colleague Sam is here. Sam will tell you a little bit more about the programme we're running, if you're not already aware of that. And also Rachel's here, who is doing some marketing with us, which is fantastic. And yeah, today is last minute in lots of ways. So yesterday I found out that unfortunately Ranjit Singh, who was going to be presenting as guest speaker today, is ill. And so I was a bit knocked sideways yesterday and had to conjure up an alternative at very short notice. But things have turned out in dreamlike fashion for me, personally, and for us. So I will introduce you to Shirley in due course. I'm going to hold back on that until we get to that point. But I'm really thrilled that Shirley's joined us because one of the goals of this programme is to be as open and inclusive and friendly as possible. And one of those goals was to open it up so that we would have not just men speakers from Jim's network, but also women speakers. And this month we've got 2 women speakers. So I'm delighted about that. So on to the agenda. The Creative Showcase is from Claire, who is going to give us some fantastic insights about something new and exciting, which some of you might know about already. Then I'm going to have a kind of informal chat with Shirley, because we only got to talk about this yesterday, literally via an email exchange. So we've got themes that we're going to cover, and I'm just going to ask Shirley some questions about how she's managed to grow a really interesting business and grow it into new markets as well. So we'll talk about that until about 1:10. Then we'll give you a few announcements and we'll have some food. And we'll wrap up that 2 o'clock. And that's pretty much the order of it. Okay, right, on that, I am going to introduce you to Claire. I'm so thrilled, Claire, for you that you're doing this. And I'm going to put... And also that, like the others before you, you've been brave enough to do the Pecha Kucha format. So, here we go. Let's put this on for you. In fact, I'm just going to cue this. So if you don't know Pecha Kucha, this is a format introduced by young architects in Tokyo about 20 odd years ago as a way of sharing what they were working on with each other in events like this. So it's 20 visuals for 20 seconds each. So you kind of talk with a visual in the background for 20 seconds. So if you haven't seen it before, it's quite difficult to do. But it's actually a very entertaining and very quick fire way of telling your story.
Okay.
You're on.
Right, so the theme of the topic, bear with me, is about how I refound my identity and reinvented myself both as a mum and a business owner. So this is going to be quite stressful because it's going to keep changing. Our story starts shortly in Bognor Regis in the early 80s. So just a small town girl. Fill the rest of that bit in. And I wanted to kind of get out and see the world as you do when you're young, So I went out and I studied abroad. I studied in Canterbury, in Avignon and in Bruges. So I lived in Europe for quite a number of years. That's me in Cannes. When Moulin Rouge came out, so you can work out how old I am. And yeah, I was very into my kind of international languages, politics, literature, anything about words. And this picture, I actually lived in Brussels for 4 years. I've got loads of photos of me in the European Parliament talking to the European Commission President. Couldn't find them. You've got a bowl of Brussels sprouts. So that was my Euro nerd phase. I was very into my kind of politics at that point, but I didn't ever feel that I really sort of fitted into that expat world. So I came back to London. And I had a variety of kind of corporate roles, working for different sort of campaign groups, trade associations, and then sort of leading kind of marketing teams. And then there was a very big change that came my way. This is still corporate. So I was part of the London 2012 Olympics. I had to run down with the big blue sheets when they had the opening ceremony without falling over and making a complete fool of myself, but an incredible experience. So this was kind of my life 20 years ago, and then this happened. So I got married and I had a family very quickly. It was a big family, I had twins, and it was a really big identity shift, both as a mother, trying to kind of balance keeping 2 babies alive, but also how on earth do you work and have that kind of creative professional fulfillment as well. And then this happened. Obviously there was a bit of time in between. I had a 3rd baby, so this was our house in London, and that was really a catalyst for me, living in a busy street in London. Such a big place, but also very isolating for a mum, and I found it really, really difficult, and the return to work was very difficult. So I moved back to Bognor Regis, mainly because of this, to have that space, not only for the family, but for myself to kind of grow. And it gave me the space to kind of think about what I wanted to do, so to retrain, and I went into the kind of digital marketing route. But before I did that, I went back to work, and I put a revolving door because I kind of quickly realised that as a mum of 3 young children, a corporate role and a commute is not fun, and it was a very, very difficult time for me, and it didn't fit my lifestyle. I never had the flexibility. So I studied with digital mums, so around baby naps, any spare time I had, I upskilled in digital marketing, and then later kind of paid social ads, and it was a real breakthrough for me, both in terms of my confidence, but then I decided to launch my own business, so Little Olive Social. My youngest child is Olivia, so that's where the name came from, but it was a kind of a branch into a new creative avenue for me, going out there and doing it myself, getting clients. And then this happened, lockdown. But actually, so this was, I think, 2 weeks after I launched my business, but it turned out to be the best thing because everybody pivoted online. And then obviously because I could act digitally and I could operate on Zoom, it was a really good kind of experience for me. And I think it was transformational for a lot of mums who were sort of suddenly told they couldn't work at home and then they had to work at home. And I did some of my best creative work. So this was a campaign that I did for Huggies Pull-Ups. And it really kind of, it showed me that I really enjoyed not only creative, but also the writing. So I was inspired to support other mums. So I contributed to a best-selling business book about how to inspire mums to get out of their own way and to succeed, because it was a lot of things that I'd been through. So that was that book. And then I really decided that actually that kind of was just the start, and I wanted to write my own book, which I have done, and it's coming out next week. So I'm sorry that I can't show you the cover, but the reveal will be next week, and that is a step-by-step guide. It's the guide I wanted 4 years ago. So if I was a mum starting a business, how would I get my idea? How would I work out products, services, tax, legal, promotions, etc. And I think there's a real gap in the market. So a lot of business books that I've read, they're not relatable to me. They often have chess pieces on them, which is why I've got this. And they're quite sort of abstract. They're kind of, we're up here, and you as a business person are sort of somewhere down here. So I want to be really relatable. And these are the names of the female business owners who are running amazing businesses who have contributed to my book. And I've got case studies of lots of different types of business, how they've succeeded being mums, and it's made the book really strong, really relatable. So it's made for and by mums. So I think my identity point is around, the book is called Not Just Mum, and there's nothing wrong with being just a mum, but you're more than that. So often in somebody's phone, I will be somebody's mum, but there's a lot more to it than that. So that's the idea behind the book, like you're discovering yourself, the different parts of you, and I feel like that I've got there. So it's kind of come full circle. And that's a very big picture of me on the big screen. But yeah, this is me sort of coming back to myself. And the final point, one of my business coaches said, if you don't have a seat at the table, build your own. And I think that's what the book sums up, that if you don't fit into the kind of corporate world or the mum world you're expected to be in, then create your own thing, create your own business. And that's what this represents. So hopefully that's, I've done the brief. This is just some information about me. If you want to get in touch, I'd love to chat to any of you. I'd love to connect with you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Claire, and that was brilliant. You'd never believe that you hadn't done Pecha Kucha format before, so fantastic. We'll do questions later on, if that's okay.
Yeah.
If anybody has any questions, wants to talk to Claire specifically about any of the things she's raised, she'll be here until towards the end. Yep, brilliant, thank you. Great, right, I'm just going to cue the next part of the session. Bear with me one sec. Please let me know. Thank you. Right, back to where we were. Got the right thing on the screen. Okay, so I'm absolutely thrilled that Shirley has stepped in at the last minute, because when I started this project in April, I discovered Shirley's business and went to see Shirley's premises, and it gives me goosebumps. I was so excited about it. And I thought, we've got to be able to showcase Shirley at some point and get Shirley to talk about her story. So I'm thrilled that Shirley's here. I'm just going to run a very quick piece of video which she really kindly shared with me yesterday. So Shirley founded Hand Printed, and here's, hopefully you'll be able to hear this.
Hand Printed, we're a very specialist art shop. We sell printmaking supplies online and in person, and we teach printmaking techniques. We have our shop downstairs in our warehouse, and then we have our studio upstairs where we run workshops. I started Hand Printed about 20 years ago when I was teaching printmaking in an adult ed college. It grew because there was a demand, and now it's evolved into a business with 6 full-time members of staff, and nationally and internationally known as a printmaking expert.
Okay, so a few facts. The first one that blew me away, quite frankly, when I was like, 35,500 Instagram followers. How come I haven't heard about you? And then I realised, as Sam said earlier, oh, I've got about 6 people that follow Hand Printed. And I said, yeah, I've got a dozen, but never knew the business. So, in Bolton Regis. So Shirley and I are going to talk about a few things along the way, if that's okay. And hopefully this will be helpful for you to understand a little bit more about some decisions made along the way. So,
Might be helpful for me. Decisions made.
So there we go. I've got a few questions I've written down briefly on the train this morning. So can you start off by telling us about the early years? What did you learn about customers? Because we all know you can't suddenly have a successful business that runs for years.
No. What did I know about customers? I knew that
they were mostly right. Not always right, but they were mostly right. But I knew that customer service had to be key to the business for us, I say us now, but I said us from very early on, even when it was just me. I wanted it to sound not more than it was, but I wanted it to sound a more established business than just me on my own. So yeah, I knew that I had to respond fast, and I had to give them answers and to be honest as well. Because what we do is a lot of it is we sell printmaking. The vast majority, the kind of mainstay of the business is online sales. So the studio upstairs, where we run courses, and the shop downstairs, they're the nice things, and the blog, it's the nice things, they're kind of a cherry on the top that makes the business look really lovely, and it makes it a nice place to be for everyone who's working there. But the core business is the online sales. Without that, we wouldn't be able to pay the expenses of the staff. So I knew that I had to be able to answer customers' queries, and so often because of it's a technical thing that we're doing, I had to have the answers to, and had to have the skills to answer the questions, like how do I roll out the thing, what should I do, this is happening. And I think there's also, I think that I've got a bit of a no bullshit policy, that in the business, if somebody phones up, we're very hands-on with that kind of thing. If somebody phones up and says, oh, I've got a problem with this, if we don't know the answer, then we have to say we don't know the answer, but we'll find out the answer for them. And we'll, as long as it's one of our products, it's that ramble on, but
Very, very helpful.
okay.
So early days, before online, how many years were you doing what you were doing before online?
Well, it was all online.
It was online from the beginning?
From the beginning.
Okay.
So I started, I was teaching at an adult ed college, and a bit like Claire, I wanted something to do with the kids. I needed a side hustle because of the part-time teaching I was doing wasn't paying enough, and I needed to be paying more to do that. So I started it from the spare room. I first started making my own things and selling, and it was, a lot of it was printed with hand prints of kids. And so that's where the name came from. But I found it, I'd go to Christmas fairs. We do really well at Christmas, we've got quite a lot of publicity, but it was before knocking the high street and Etsy and those kind of things. But I found the actual face-to-face bit, people looking at stuff, looking at that, feeling it and going, I found that really hurtful, and so it's much easier selling an ink that I haven't made. So I was teaching at adult ed college in South East London, and my students started to want to have some of the same things. So I thought, well, I'm buying it for me. If I buy a little bit more, could I sell them? So I started selling to them, and then I started on eBay. But that was in 2004.
Okay.
And so I started selling on eBay, and then I built the most clunky website in the world with no understanding of how anything went. And then a friend stepped in and said that I could do a slightly better job. And so in 2005, the first website went out.
Okay.
We were completely online from the beginning. The in-person thing has come much later. The online, spare room, under the bed, was what it was for 5 years.
Yeah. Interesting. So from the beginning, online has been crucial to it, so you really are a creative and digital business.
Yeah.
As a manifestation of all the things that we're kind of knitting together. The bit I'm also really interested in is how you've kind of grown into providing courses, because a number of people here have got a lot of expertise and have shared their knowledge freely, and quite rightly are looking at that as another income stream as potential. So you've managed to monetize that and open up that as a whole other market.
The courses, they started really, we moved to these premises just over 10 years ago from a small place in Chichester, and it had a second floor, and we didn't really know what to do with it. We make the silk screens that we sell as well, so part of it was given over to that. We thought, if we started a studio, we could do more of the blog posts ourselves, and then, so this big space was there. And I thought, oh, I used to teach, and you know, there's been times in the business when it's been when we took that premises on, it was, all the money gone, everything, I'd stopped paying myself for a couple of months and that kind of, no money in the bank. What can we do to monetize this? Well, I could do some teaching. So we did a simple course of screen printing a length of fabric and then making it into a lampshade over three mornings. And at the end of that, the people that were on it said, we want to continue, so can you devise something else? And so then we started something that we called Fab Fridays, which must have been in 2015, 16, which Tricia started to come to, and has taught many of them as well. And so originally they were just taught in-house, and it just seemed to grow. We did quite a lot of Facebook, never really a lot of paid advertising. So Facebook and Instagram, we jumped on as soon as, Instagram as soon as it sort of appeared, because of the visual look of it. But yeah, we haven't done a lot of paid advertising for anything. It's been word of mouth, making sure that the people who attended the courses were happy with what they got. And the cost point as well, our in-house courses are a good value for money, but then we have expert tutors come, and those ones are more expensive.
Yeah, right. So you've built a network of suppliers effectively to come in to enable that part of the business to grow.
Yeah, and we contact, because now we know it's quite easy to, once a year I'll contact a whole load of artists that I think, they'd be interesting, or they're doing a different technique, or they've got a book out, or and most of the time if they're happy to teach, they want to teach us, we give them a nice time. It's down in, we're in by the sea. A lot of people are coming from Yorkshire or somewhere where they're nowhere near the sea, so they'll come and have some sun and pay for B&B, and it's a nice weekend away. So
that's great.
Yeah.
So that brings me to how you kind of expanded, not just from local market, which I assume is where it all started.
Yeah.
To, as you told me, you've got people coming from Europe, from elsewhere, coming to courses.
Yeah. I know, that's been a bit, we had a course a few weeks ago, which we had 2 people fly from Belgium for, and they weren't friends as well, which was the oddest thing. And we've had somebody this year who changed their family holiday from Australia in order to make it fit with the course. I feel like we're really lucky. When I go out to tutors and say, would you fancy teaching for us? I sort of feel like we're the little person, and I'll often get a response of like, oh my God, I can't believe you've asked me. And so I think the business has become a much bigger thing for that. And I think because I've had not the balls to ask for stuff, but would you? They can say no. Yeah, it doesn't matter. But I'm not. And then when they do come, we treat them nicely, and then they tell their friends. Yeah.
Brilliant. So I'm just going to pull 2 things out, which are really, I think, vital in all of this. One is knowing enough about your customers and how to keep them happy, but also to learn from them if it's not quite right.
Totally.
And talk to them confidently and honestly.
Yeah.
That's really vital, isn't it, for any business?
Yeah.
And then the second one is that personal confidence to go and ask.
Yeah.
Even if, it took me 3 asks to get you to come and do this, so it's absolutely true. But I think that's also a really crucial thing, isn't it? If you've got an aspiration of being connected to and associated with people. I used to have a dream list of clients.
Yeah.
And when I ticked them off, well, that was when to sell the business.
Yeah.
But it was, I think, what I'm hearing from your story is that there's no end point to this yet.
No.
So that was going to be my next question. So what's the ambition beyond where you are?
It's probably to stay where we are, to be quite honest. We get people phone up like Trustpilot, which I hate. Because the only problems you ever get with, we used to do a Trustpilot thing, and the only thing you get was somebody that they complain about the postage service that we'd use because they broke a plant, or it was, it's for a mail. It's not, it's all out of your control and things that people know about. But the core of being in touch with your customers, and I've gone off this track so much. I forgot
No
what the
worries.
question was.
Ambitions, aspirations,
Aspirations, yeah. So when they ring and they say, oh, do you want to do this? Do you want to, if you pay for our service, we could grow your business exponentially. We're at, the business is full, the warehouse is full. We've got staff, which I don't know why when I was videoed I said 6 members of staff, because we've got full-time. Because we've got, I was thinking about this on the way here, we've got 3 full-time and 6 part-time, and then plus other people that do sort of freelance work. But I want to keep that as it is. We've got happy staff, we're paying everybody's wages. I don't want to have to move to a bigger warehouse. And it works as it is, so I have to keep moving and to keep looking for new products and to keep on the ball to make sure that we stay at where we are. But the idea of becoming some massive art, cat art for instance, and some big person buy us would lose what it is. Because we're passionate about what we do, and everybody that works for us are passionate about what we do and about customer service, and I just like to keep it as it is really.
Okay, that's totally understandable. Just relating back to the broader theme of entering new markets, can I just circle back to that about some of the decisions you made?
Yeah.
Because it's quite a big thing to, I mean, many of us have no doubt traded with a variety of different entities, but when you start engaging with overseas transactions and the complexity,
Oh yeah, it's
big, it's commitment,
tricky,
isn't
and
it?
the amount, Brexit, don't give us up on that one. 10% of our business used to go to the EU. We haven't really, because insurance reasons, haven't really sold outside of the EU because you have, especially for the States, and because we're sending things which are often quite heavy, it's just too big a logistical nightmare. And going back to that, I don't really want us to grow anymore. I don't want to decrease, but I want us to stay where we are. I'd always been slightly worried about doing that, but the EU was core to who we are, and because of our Instagram reach, we have a lot of international people, and I wanted to still be able to supply them. But that took about 3 years to get back.
Right.
Well, it's not gone back to 10% by any stretch, but to be able to sell back into the EU because of the trickiness, and I wanted to do it so that to make it easy for our customers, they weren't landed with a nasty tax bill, so they had to pay everything on our website, so they know exactly what they're paying for. So that's been an old market, which is then has changed, so it's now a new market. We haven't looked at things like TikTok. We thought about it, but Instagram pulls enough people our way, and so that as a market, I think it's also potentially a bit younger than our usual demographic. We find that using both Facebook and Facebook works great for courses and local courses as well. There's more of an interaction that we know is because our Instagram following is much larger and it's more diverse.
Okay. So, do you monetize online content?
No.
Is that part of the thinking? I mean, that would be a
It would be, but again, it's a bit like
logical thought.
it would be because during COVID, but I was lucky that by then I had older kids, so they came in and helped do the online orders, and no staff were in the business, so we could keep running through that. But the other thing that we did, one of the members of staff then started doing lots of videos, and so we'd do a weekly video, and it became a real thing, and people really followed it. And so we have now a terrific bank of YouTube videos that we add to occasionally, but not in the same way we were. We could monetize them, but I get irritated when an advert comes up, and so I would rather not do that because it's our customer experience.
And you know what works for your customer base.
It's
being in business for 20 years.
And I think I'm lucky in that way that we don't have to monetize it. Back in earlier times when it wasn't as stable, we were trying to do things like I also hate Amazon. We used to sell on Amazon, but absolutely can't help it. But we used to do the links,
the Amazon
Affiliates.
affiliate links. We used to do all of that as well, and the amount of work that that often took for the amount of return that we got just wasn't worth it. So I'd rather spend the time doing more things, putting more content on the website, and getting people to come to us because of what we're offering for free. So like our newsletters as well, when we don't send out too many, and we try to make them a bit more informative and less on the hard sell. We're not hard sellers. We obviously need to sell, but we want people to gain expertise from us for free, as well as, and then feel an alignment with us so that they will purchase us.
Interesting. Okay. I'm conscious of time. I wanted to open up possibility of questions,
Yeah.
if that's okay. Is there, just before we do, is there any advice that you would give to those that are kind of at that point where they want to grow,
Yeah.
but not quite sure how to enact a growth plan, a growth strategy? Because remember when we first talked, you just said, yeah, but I just kind of did it, and I don't really know what the plan was. It kind of
Yeah.
happened organically.
Yeah.
But there might be some key moments where you made a decision that
Yeah.
detail, elevate it.
I think it's not being scared to ask people for help, and accept that sometimes, like I know that people that work for me have got way more skills in certain areas than I will ever have, and so to trust other people's advice, get as much advice as possible. Don't always take it, but because sometimes I find that if I ask somebody for something and they give me their 10 penny worth, I then think, no, actually what I'm doing is right. That helps me solidify what I'm thinking, and be passionate about what you want and expect it to take over your life. So that every waking minute is thinking about it, but try to put your phone down.
Thank you. Yeah, Rachel, go for it.
So my question is about the e-commerce side. Obviously, you started to sell it online, and the tools and everything is available for an e-commerce site now, and the audience insight you can do is obviously incredible. Has that been a learning curve for you, or have you had to have someone else do that? You know, how has it changed?
Yeah, that's changed a huge amount. Just we use the Shopify website now.
Okay.
So we've had about 5 or 6 different websites, and ones that were so difficult to build where I had to get external help in, and now we just have a web designer that we call on when we need specific things. So if we need extra guidance, she'll come in and help us or do certain things, but pretty much it's been organically learned, and Shopify is so easy. It's so easy to use. So I know they take a big chunk of money, but it's more than normal. And we still do eBay and Etsy, but we use those as marketing and advertising. They're a bit more loss leaders.
And are you looking at the audience insights behind Shopify?
Yeah, and seeing, things like we have a lot of repetitive watch lists, so looking at repeat customers and to make sure that is staying fairly consistent, because if it's not, then we're doing something wrong. So, or there's somebody else out there. I also don't try to look at competitors too much, because I think that sort of inhibits your own gut feeling and what your own creativity will be. And don't want to be a follower of somebody rather than looking at artists in the field and thinking, well, they're doing that, that's interesting. That's where I get inspiration.
Any other questions? Perfect.
Do you have other people in the business community? Do you have a sort of peer group or people that sort of support you, or is it kind of all on you to do everything?
Yeah, in that way, I've got a friend who's got a shop in Chichester that used to have businesses alongside each other. So if I need to talk about cardboard boxes or tape guns or careers, that she's my go-to. We're both, we'll use each other in that way. Completely ignore what the advice is, but we'll use each other to bounce ideas off. But I found it really hard to find. Probably about 8-9 years ago, I started to go to a lot of networking things, to try to build a bit of a community and to try to get people to come to us as well, to know about us. I found it really, there was very little in the creative industry, so it would be, there'd be solicitors there, or there'd be, and it was all just about getting everybody else's business rather than being supportive of them.
Yeah. No, it's really good to hear about other things in Brooklyn, because
Yeah.
there is more happening. We've got the track, we've got the co-working space.
Yeah.
So, for example, Rachel and I will get through that, so we can kind of, we've got similar sort of businesses. So
Yeah.
it's great to have people that get it, and
Yeah.
sometimes when you miss that kind of community of work, particularly when you're starting out on your own, it can be quite isolating.
Yes.
So to have other people that understand it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that isolation, for a long time I wanted a business partner. I felt like I needed somebody else because of feeling so isolated in that whole field. But I'm glad of it now.
Yeah.
So that's a good question actually. So how's your business run? Is it literally just you as the main
So
CEO type role
yeah,
in all
yeah.
the other functions?
yes, but then I've got brilliant staff and their opinions. Their opinions are critical, and I hope that I give them enough respect for them to be able to run with their own ideas. If something wasn't right, I'd say that's not quite how I would want that. But
You don't outsource HR or anything?
outsource, so yeah, we do.
Right, okay.
Yeah, outsource HR. We get an HR person come in and she would deal with, so she does all my contracts and all of that kind of thing. So yes, I outsource HR, outsource all of the accounts and payroll, the external web designer. I've got somebody who does business coaching, who has talked to a few of us at certain times. But there's nobody else that's constantly involved in decision making apart from the staff.
Okay. Thomas.
A great speech, very inspiring. I wanted to ask, how is your perception, not just that expectation from the business changed from the day you started to now? Has it changed or stayed the same?
Wow, I didn't really think. When I started it, I had 3 kids under 5, and I didn't know, I knew I didn't want to go back to work full time, as I had been. As it ended up, I went back to work full time.
Double the full time.
Double the full time. So yeah, I didn't really have the expectations. It's grown beyond what I thought, but it has been over 20 years, and it has been organic changes. I think sometimes when I've made decisions and something started to happen, and then I think actually that's not right for the business, I've pulled back from that as well. Like selling loans and thinking, no, that's too cold, it's not us, and let's get rid of it. I'm interested in getting rid of it. So yeah, it's a lot of feeling in that. But yeah, the business is not what I think.
Excellent. Right. Any other questions? If not, I'm going to jump into a few announcements. Sam's going to tell you a little bit about the programme, if any of you haven't yet signed up or heard about it. So, thank you, Shirley. Okay, so firstly, I've got really sad news. Some of you may have heard. I'm still kind of shivering about it. You may well have seen James here. Yeah, literally a few weeks ago at the Waverley. He was there with us. He was here in June. He was in Arundel in July. I've literally been speaking to him weekly since I started this project because he lives in Chichester. I'm devastated. I barely knew him, but I felt like I'd known him for years. He was just one of those unbelievably friendly, open people that would share everything. And I was helping him with Chamber of Culture, his initiative in Chichester. We were only talking about his preparation for going to meet the MP the week before. So, yeah, shocking news. So, I just thought it was incumbent on me to share the bad news, I'm afraid. So his family did say, please let everybody know who will have encountered him in recent times, as he was very committed to community work, and he'll be a big loss. So, yeah, very sad news.
What's the sad? Was an accident?
There's a sudden brain hemorrhage. Taken ill on a Sunday, died on the Wednesday. I found out at the track Thursday afternoon. I was kind of like in shock for a few days, and yeah, I'm still kind of getting over it. In fact, a number of people keep contacting me and saying, have you heard about? And yeah, each time it's still like, oh, that's really shocking news. So, thoughts with his family, yeah, very, very sad news. But the spirit of what he's doing is very much what we're doing, what he was doing. It's very much what we're doing, which is why he came to support every event. So, one of the artists, if you didn't know him, he was a techno music manager for Max Cooper, who's internationally renowned techno DJ, artist, producer, and also Derek Carter, and I didn't know Guy Andrews, who's also come to some of the events with James, who's also managed by James's company, the Wild Seeds. So, yeah, ripples through the arts, techno, culture communities. Yeah, sad news. So, we'll keep doing what we're doing. Yeah, with the spirit of James's enthusiasm, powering what we're doing. So, on from that one. Yeah, more positive news. There's some new faces here, so thank you so much to those of you that are new and you've come for the first time. Welcome, Matthew, Kate, Gary, and Harvey. It's brilliant that we're continuing to make this happen, and yeah, every time we put one of these events on, people want to come, and so we're delighted. One of the things I did want to point out is on the website, it came up actually, Thomas, you asked us because you couldn't make it to the July event.
Yeah.
You said, oh, any chance you could record it?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we have.
Nice.
So it's on the website.
Oh.
So,
Thank you.
exactly as Shirley was advocating, you listen to your customers. You're not a customer, but you're kind of brilliant.
Thank you.
So Lana's here with us filming events, really for that purpose. So it's great experience for Lana, who's building her portfolio to hopefully get some kind of entry point into the film industry, and we connected Lana with Kelly, who did the talk at the last event in July, and hopefully Lana, the first film marshalling role, is not far away. And so, yeah, we're a supportive community, and it's brilliant to be able to welcome people in. And Gary's here, who we've only met, and I feel like I kind of know you already, even though I've only met you in person today. Gary's going to be doing our next talk on exit strategies, having successfully sold a business in recent times. So that's also really exciting, that we'll get to hear a bit more about your story of how you built a business over a period of time, and were a photographer before that, and various other things. So lots of interesting things to come as well. We've also got an interesting one coming up in November, Net Zero Initiative. Somebody from West Sussex County Council's Net Zero Initiative contacted me and said, could we possibly put a speaker in the mix to talk about sustainability? And I said, well, only if it's in relation to one of our themes. And it is in relation to sustaining customers. So it's quite an interesting take on how the service business has used sustainability to actually keep it fresh in the eyes of its customers. So it's used sustainability in a very creative way. So the speaker on that topic will be in Bognor. We might not use the Waverley, so I'm open to suggestions about bringing something a little bit more into town centre. Because as I discovered in the howling wind and rain on that day in the summer, it's quite a long walk from the track.
Yeah, oh, you walked?
I walked it. I had my wheelie trolley and I had the pop-up stands and everything.
Oh, I can imagine that. We ran from the car and was like, ugh.
Yeah, it was pretty shocking. But we're back here in November, and we've got a great speaker actually. Juliet from Brighton Zoo is going to come and talk about products versus services. So she's shifted from doing commissioned work for broadcasters making kids TV to actually developing IP and selling her own formats. So that's quite an interesting one about how you make a decision point. So I think we'll find that one interesting too. And also really importantly, we've got another woman speaker in January. Some of you might have come across Julia Walter, who was previously with Chichester Festival Theatre. She is now heading up all things creative and digital for Royal Shakespeare Company, while still being based locally. So she's going to come and talk to us about collaborative partnerships, because she's put a fair few of them together in her time. So all very exciting stuff. I spoke to somebody yesterday about Angels and Neds. Neds, if you're not aware, non-executive directors, very important part of the growth journey, bringing those kind of people on board for some businesses. And then we're going to finish up the sessions with angel funding, for which I've got a network in mind that I'd like to bring in. So, next event, 24th of October, 5:30 to 8 p.m, and Digby Fine English. You haven't been there before. Great venue, really nice wine, very nice food. Yeah, the food here is also really good, so do stick around for that. Right, over to you, Sam.
Yes.
We are absolutely bang on
We
time.
are good on time. So, hi everyone, I'm Sam. I've met some of you at a previous event in the rainy summer party we had, which was wonderful. And I guess I've been a little bit behind the scenes. I haven't been to many of these events because I've been busy putting together the Thrive programme, which I guess is kind of the sister to Flourish events, isn't it? It's kind of the other half. So we wanted to create this amazing community by the Flourish events, but we wanted to also provide extra support for those needing it through Thrive. So Thrive, this is a very rough and ready sketch of the programme, but it's kind of bookended by 2 peer-to-peer sessions. So everyone comes together, gets to know each other in a cohort. So we've got a cohort for each of these. So we've got one starting in October, and we're recruiting at the moment for Jan. But it'll be about between 10 and 12 businesses. There's quite a few people on the cohort that are here today. So hello everyone who's already joined. And then we're going to have 3 masterclasses, which are very much based on the cohort. So we interview everybody through the programme, find out what the key challenges are, the needs, and then we try and, it's very difficult to try and choose 3 themes from what everyone said. But for example, for the October cohort, we have a session which is focused on IP and revenue streams, so having a look at what you've got already as a business, instead of just always thinking innovation needs to be something new. We have an amazing lady, Erica, who's 20 plus years in the creative industries, coming down from Oxford. She was actually delighted to come to Bognor. She was like, oh, you know, exciting, and she hasn't been to the track before. So we've got her coming down from Oxford to present, and she's been part of the Create UK programmes across the UK, delivering workshops and mentoring. So she's also going to be one of our mentors as well. We've got a session on finance, because a lot of people spoke to us about, you know, finance is always an issue, I think, as a business. It's always something you want to talk about. So we'll talk a little bit about pricing and things that come up there. And then finally, we've got strategy. So very much about, you know, what's the long-term game plan, you know, exit strategies, anything like that, we're going to cover in strategy. So it's very much based on that. So in the January, we haven't put what we're doing yet, because we haven't interviewed everyone. So it is very much bespoke programme is what we wanted to do here, not kind of an off-the-shelf, you know, ones that we've delivered for other programmes, but something really specific to Arun and the businesses within it. So like I said, we're recruiting for January, so if you haven't yet signed up to the October cohort or the January one, please do get in touch. We've got flyers at the back. We'll be sharing these slides, and you can apply using the QR code. We are halfway full for January, I think, about. So there are about 6 places.
4, I think.
4 places left. Wow, okay, so selling fast. But yeah, we'd love to hear from everyone, because if we are oversubscribed, we can go back to West Sussex and say it's so popular, we might need some more money. Yeah, please do apply. I'll talk to us afterwards if you're interested. But yeah, really excited to get going in October with our first one. So yeah, thank you.
Brilliant. Okay. That's all the talking from us, so thank you. The food, I hope, is round the corner. From memory last time, there was an awful lot of food and it was really good. In fact, Matt and I sat outside with a pint and did a one-to-one and munched our way through the remaining falafels, chicken wings, pizza. It was great. So, yeah, do enjoy the food. And if you wouldn't mind actually, before you do go and get the food, if you could scan the QR code and give us some feedback on the events, it's really, really useful to us. First events, we got loads of feedback and everybody was really diligent. And then I completely forgot to prompt everyone last time. So if you could, that would be amazing. Thank you ever so much. Okay,
Great, thank you.
that's it. Thank you. Enjoy it.